Welcome back to Bourbon Barrel Talk. I'm your host, Scott Minton. Today we are sitting down with the Oppo fanboy Josh himself.
What's up?
And Mr. Toby Hatfield.
Hey.
Welcome back, brother.
Yeah, whatever.
So today we are doing a tasting of a couple of different bourbons. One is a recent release from Liquor Barn. It is the Hancocks Reserve single barrel. And then the other one we are drinking is going to be a Penelope Bourbon. And Penelope Bourbon is it's made in Lawrenceburg, Indiana, which tells me it's MGP. And it is bottled in Frankfort, Kentucky. It is a 4-grain whiskey, and it is a blend of 3 different mash bills that create the 4-grain blend. And it says it's remarkably smooth, flavorful, and perfect sipping neat or in your favorite cocktail.
So you just referenced MGP.
Yep.
And
Midwest Grain Products.
Is that what it stands for?
Yeah.
Okay. I didn't know that.
You really didn't know that?
No, I just called it MGP.
There you go.
Did I see that MGP recently announced they were purchasing Luxro?
Actually, it's the opposite. Luxro purchased MGP.
Oh, all right.
So Luxro Distillery or Bourbon or Spirits Company out of St. Louis, Missouri bought MGP. So,
okay.
So do you think they're going to continue to source the same way they do today?
So part of me says yes, because MGP is, MGP theoretically is what the second largest bourbon producer in the country. I mean, they produce a ton of bourbon.
I think somebody said that they actually have more bottles on the shelf than all the other brands combined.
Probably. It's probably real damn close. And then on top of that, Luxro does have a lot of retired brands, let me put it that way. So nobody heard of, Old Tub until recently, right?
Mm-hmm.
But that's a revitalized bottle. I mean, Old Tub was made years ago. They revitalized
Not Luxro, though, right?
So Luxro owns tons of old retired names like that.
But they don't own Old Tub.
No, they don't own Old Tub, no.
Okay.
But I'm saying there's lots of different things that Luxro owns. That
Rebel Yell?
Yes, Rebel Yell. So retired things like that. So therefore, in that situation, I think that they're going to use some of that MGP stock or stockpile of bourbon to maybe revitalize some brands and then start, using that as a long-term blend or a long-term mash bill or whatever, because they have the capacity to use that, whether it's the 7120, 7126 or whatever mash bill on that MGP, and then they get it's 76-21-4 or 75-20.
That math doesn't add up either. But
75-21-4.
We can give
there
the
we go.
benefit of the doubt there.
75-21-4. And my dog's barking, so if anybody can hear that, I apologize. But
who let the dog out?
woof, 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 woof. So, and I don't know what the mash bill is, but the other one is something 36-4. So I guess that's what 60-36-4 is the other mash bill that MGP is so famous for. But I don't know.
I digress. I sent you
bad.
down a different direction than
rabbit hole than I wanted to go. So
I was going to say rabbit hole, but that's whiskey, so I've tried to avoid saying that.
So when we talk about the Penelope, you said that it was a blend. So basically what you're saying is there's 2 different barrels. One has 3 grains, another one has...
It actually says 3 different barrels.
Or 3 different barrels. And so the combination of those are 4 grains. So it's not that they distilled with 4 grain.
Correct. It's corn, rye, wheat, and malted barley.
Can you really call it 4 grain if you don't distill it with 4 grain when you're just mixing 2 grains and 2 grains and that happen to be different?
Yes.
Or,
I have no idea, Toby. Nor do I care.
no, it just seems like it's a...
It does seem like somewhat like false advertising, but it's really not. I mean, because you are blending. If you're blending a similar amount of the wheat that you are with the rye, because corn has to be the main ingredient, right? It has to be at least 51%. So as long as you're blending in the other ones with similar amounts, then it shouldn't really make a difference.
It's kind of like the question, if the bear shits in the woods and no one's out there to see it, did the bear really shit? The answer doesn't matter.
All right, so we digress. Back to the Penelope Bourbon. I'm going to talk about this. I'm going to let y'all get a sniff of it and all that good stuff, and you tell me what you think, and then I'll go in and take a try. But it says on this one that it's supposed to be, like I said, remarkably smooth and flavorful, and there's all kinds of different tasting notes on here. I'm not going to read those because I want to make sure I get my own notes first. So
I think I'm getting some caramel or butterscotch out of this one, and I could be a little off, but it's got a very pleasant nose to it for an 80-proof whiskey.
Yeah, and we chose the 2 whiskeys that we did today because they are both like super low proof. They're less than 90 proof.
Well, we chose one because it's good, and
Yes.
we know that. And then this one you got because it's a new bottle you have here.
Kind of true for sure. So this one, Toby, what do you think, man? What's on the nose there?
It does definitely got a little sweet nose, a little caramel, but not too much there. So the Penelope looks really light.
It is super light, but the fragrance on this thing it's unique. Like I'm getting like some fruit notes, but I do pick up on the butterscotch you're talking about. And it might be that you gave me, what is that, the hint of persuasion or whatever.
I just told you what it was.
That's a good possibility. But I'm getting like fruit, like maybe like apple or something like that. It
has a very nice nose to it.
It almost reminds me a little bit of that honey orchard. Not quite as good or quite as fragrant, but
blasphemy.
I was about to say it.
It's got a similar nose. It does. It really does. Really,
you could get an apple scent out of it, but
I don't know.
It's not quite as refreshing as the honey orchard.
So taste it and let me see what you all think, and then I'll get a chance to taste it, and we can go from there.
It doesn't have a whole lot of taste to it.
It doesn't have much. Yeah.
It's light on taste. It's not bad. Smooth. There's no burn to it. At 80 proof, you're not really going to get that.
Yeah, it's super. The funny thing is, so the light fruit doesn't come through on the taste. It comes through more like a dark fruit. It's almost like a raisin or something that's in there, or a fig, something.
Figgy.
Dark.
It's not bad.
It's not bad, but it's definitely very light. But I mean, like I said, we were going for 80 proof. We knew what was going to happen with that. So it was one of those weird things.
Yep.
The dog is going ballistic today, so I don't know what's up with that. He usually doesn't do this.
He wants Penelope too.
Evidently. So on this Penelope, like I said, I think I get some citrus off of it. I don't really get the apple smell, but the taste from the smell. But it's definitely very, 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 very light.
It's not a bad 80 proof whiskey, and it's not complex. And if you're comparing it to other 80 proof whiskeys, it's not bad.
So it says here on Aroma, you should get sweet buttercream, fresh apples, married with allspice such as nutmeg and cinnamon. The palate is creamy, sweet, with a dance of almonds and vanilla, and finishes with hints of macadamia nuts and subtle kisses of tangerine.
I don't get any of that.
The pizza rolls contaminated your palate, Toby.
Is that what it is? The gummy bears?
The gummy bears.
I bet it is the gummy bears. I only had one, so my palate's probably not messed up quite as bad. But
not a bad whiskey. It's a very light whiskey. It's light in both flavor and color. Not complex. It's not going to be something that you're going to pick up a wide array of tastes.
Toby, what's Google say about Penelope? What's the cost point on this thing, man? And we'll keep talking about it while you're looking it up.
So one of the questions is, where did you get it from?
So this was one of the Flavier exclusives, Flavier, whatever you want to say.
Have you seen it at Total Wine or Liquor Barn?
No, it's the first time I've actually ever seen this bottle. But it's from Frankfort, Kentucky, so I got to believe it's distributed in the state of Kentucky. So it means it's probably at Total Wine or someplace. It's not Total Wine or anything. So
I feel like I've seen the brand before, but I've never bought one.
It reminds me of like Pinhook is what when I was looking.
Oh, maybe that's it. Pinhook has a very similar.
Yeah, Pinhook has all the horses on them, but the P is very big and pronounced in Pinhook, and I think also the shape of the bottle is almost identical. Of course, this is about as generic of a bottle as you can get for bourbon, right? I mean, just about anybody that's sourcing a product is probably buying these bottles.
I mean, let's be honest. I do buy whiskey because it's a sexy bottle on occasion.
What's the sexiest bottle?
Oh, I don't know, but Blanton's is a pretty bottle. It's a tater bottle.
But is it sexy? I mean, that's fat.
I like the M10 bottles.
The Michter's 10 bottles are nice and sleek.
You like your girls like a Blanton's bottle, round at the bottom,
tiny at the top,
skinny neck.
All right, I'll see you guys later.
So you got this because of the subscription that you have. I was going to say prescription.
Yes. Yeah, they send you one bottle a quarter, and then they send you 2 sets of samples a quarter if you buy a quarterly thing.
So is that the thing that you're supposed to only drink one bottle of whiskey per quarter?
I guess. I don't know. That's what.
So I'm an overachiever?
You're much an overachiever. One bottle a week is definitely an overachiever.
I was just wondering if that was like what the standard of drinking whiskey is, one per quarter, because otherwise I'm scoring that. What's the SAT score based on now?
1,600.
So I'm getting like a 1,600 here.
Yeah. It went up to 3,200, and then they brought it back down to 1,600.
Well, that's a long time ago for me.
Yeah. Ours was 1,600 back in the day. That was the top score you could get.
I certainly didn't get 1,600.
I told you what I got. It was pretty pathetic. So
See, my question is though, would anybody walk into a store and buy a light colored bourbon that's 80 proof, that's probably somewhere in the $40 range, or is the only way you're going to try this and get this is some type of subscription like you got?
I make stupid bourbon purchases all the time just for the fun of it. Part of the enjoyment of trying something new, seeing what it is. I probably wouldn't buy an 80 proof whiskey.
So I have a theory behind this too, though. I think this is for like Shelly going in, and she's like, "Hey, I'm going to buy Toby a bottle of bourbon," and she sees this, and she's like, "Oh, Penelope," and then she looks at it and she goes, "Oh, it says 4-grain straight bourbon whiskey, and it's pretty, so I'll just pick it up because it will look nice in the cabinet."
Okay.
I mean, could you see that happening?
No.
No.
Shelly
just wouldn't buy you bourbon.
No, she does, but I just don't see. She would pick up something that she already knows that I would want.
Gotcha. So she wouldn't just buy you something from her whim or anything like that.
I don't know that anybody would do that.
Yeah, my wife would. She likes to buy me stuff on a whim. I mean, she bought me the subscription. You know, she's like, "Hey, this is something neat."
This is neat though, because you get to try different things and get to see different things. But I don't know anybody that's a bourbon fan that would walk into a store and buy an 80 proof bourbon.
I've done it.
Probably not many, but there are definitely people that would buy an 80 proof bourbon just because maybe they want to buy something that they feel like would be more drink forward for maybe people that aren't necessarily bourbon drinkers, things like that.
Okay, so
it's like a gateway bourbon.
Around the holidays, I was making cocktails at a family event. And when I was making these at home for myself, I was using 100 proof Old Forester, the signature Old Forester. But when I went to take them to a family member's house to make the same cocktail, I took the 86 proof because I knew they weren't going to want to drink a 100 proof whiskey cocktail. So this is something that you might want to do with, this. You take it and enjoy it as a cocktail mix.
Yeah, but the way that I would look at that, if I'm going to buy something for a cocktail, I would go get an Evan Williams bottle and bond for $17.
Old Forester 86 proof is not any more expensive than that.
It's a little more.
I mean, like 20. I mean, what $19.99, 20? I mean,
$18 to $24, depending on where you're at.
I saw one today for $17.99. So I mean, why wouldn't you?
All good. We digress. Let's go to the good whiskey.
All right, good whiskey. So the next one.
How do you know it's good?
This is one of Josh's favorite pours.
No, I've had this entire bottle before.
Yeah. So I'll let you tell the fans, because a lot of people aren't going to have the opportunity to try this because it's a Liquor Barn exclusive. So you have to be in Kentucky to get it.
I think that's just the single barrel. I could be wrong, but Hancock's Reserve is in Kentucky is a single barrel. It's President's Hancock's Reserve or something official. But in Kentucky, Liquor Barn owns the rights to the single barrel Hancock Reserve.
So have you ever seen a regular bottle of Hancock's? Because I never have.
I think outside of the state of Kentucky, they have them.
Gotcha.
But you're not going to find it here. And I didn't realize that until I went into Total Wine, 4 months ago, saying, "Hey, I always see Hancock's Reserve come out around November. When are you guys getting it?" And the guy said, "Well, that's a Liquor Barn exclusive. I haven't seen any this year." So Total Wine was like, "Yeah, go somewhere else." But this is...
so he almost told you to kiss his ass.
Nah, he said, "Why don't you go try one of these single barrels?" And then I went and bought a Peerless single barrel bourbon.
Blech.
It wasn't bad.
With all fairness, I've tried about 8 Peerless bottles, and I'm not finding one yet that has struck my fancy. None of them have been drain pours, but none of them have struck my fancy.
I like the one at Total Wine. It's not a bad, and it is a very sexy
Is it
bottle.
The green label rye, or is it standard bourbon?
It's red.
The red, okay.
Yeah, they definitely have a great bottle.
And that thing is heavy.
Mm-hmm. It is definitely a heavy
bottle. That bottle would like break a toe if you dropped it on it. But this Hancock's Reserve 88.9 proof comes in a nice little felt bag. I think it's felt or crushed velvet.
It is now.
You're so funny. This is a Buffalo Trace brand of some sorts, sort of.
Yep.
But it's an excellent low proof whiskey. Lots of complexity to it, lots of flavor, and it's not something you're going to find on the regular, but when it retails on the single barrel, I thought they retailed for $45.
Right. Do we know what this mash bill falls under for the Buffalo Trace?
I don't. I haven't looked. I haven't tatered it up, but I'm guessing it is not one of their wheat mash bills.
Well, I will look it up while you guys talk about the flavor notes. What do you think about it, Toby? You give us your opinion. You're in here.
It's awful viscosity. It's got a lot of viscosity.
And what exactly is viscosity?
I don't know. It's just sticking to the glass. Whatever causes it to do that.
Toby has crazy eyes. For those of you that can't see this, they are really crazy today.
Really?
Yes.
Okay.
It definitely has some legs on it. I'm looking to see if I can find my favorite little wheel here that shows all the products here.
Oh, I don't think you're going to see this on the wheel, are you?
I don't know. That's what I said. I'm looking to see if I can find it on the wheel.
There's a wheel of bourbon out there for those of you that are unfamiliar with what Scott's referencing, and it puts it on there, gives you kind of the range of mash bill, whether it's corn, rye, whether it's...
So Hancock's is mash bill 2 for Buffalo Trace, which means it falls under the same as Elmer T. Lee, Ancient Age, Blanton's, and Rock Hill Farms.
So there's no wheat in this one?
There's no wheat. It is the 12 to 15% rye blend.
Okay.
So...
And that's probably one of those reasons why I like it. I'm a no wheat fan, as you guys know. So
Yep.
Good pour.
And it seems like to me you like mash bill 2 because you're not a big fan of mash bill 1.
I'm not the...
Buffalo Trace you don't like Stag.
Stag's just damn hot.
Yeah, but you've gotten used to the hot stuff.
Yeah, it's just hot I don't like.
Just hot you don't like, huh?
I like the old faux hot.
So this is, you know...
I think this is...
I forgot how good this pour was. I really did.
This is the first time I've tried this. Mm-hmm. It's very good.
Yeah, no, it's an excellent pour for sure.
I did not make it over to Liquor Barn this year to pick up any when they did their release. They instantly hit secondary market, and I was just put off by the $125, $140 these bottles were going for secondary. But I have one unopened at my house from 2019.
Yep.
Which is what this is.
Yeah, this is the 2019. It is not the 2020, I don't think. So,
but it's a phenomenal pour.
And the nose on this thing, like that's the one thing about this bourbon. Like when you get in there, I mean, this is just it's got a beautiful nose. It's delicate. It's got some dark fruit. It's got all those tobacco and caramel and vanillas to it. It's got a fantastic nose on this pour.
This is another thing that bugs the shit out of me.
Let me go ahead and get the notepad out so I can add it to it.
Okay, so it's a great pour along with a lot of other Buffalo Trace products. How come you can't? I mean, why is it the only product that you can get from Buffalo Trace that you can go into the store today and buy, and you don't have to wait for a release or something else, is standard Buffalo Trace?
You can get Benchmark.
Benchmark 8, bro.
Yeah.
But you're right.
You can get
there's
Eagle
so many,
Rare most of the places.
Not anymore.
It's getting harder and harder to find. I mean, it really is.
And the
I mean, how
price went
Buffalo
up.
Trace, if you're not in the state of Kentucky, is hard to find. I mean, it's weird. I mean, I don't know if they've got some kind of weird, supply and demand scheme where they're just like not releasing everything at one time, or maybe the demand is just that great for Buffalo Trace products that it's just harder to find.
Yeah, this is a great bottle, and I've never tried it, and I've tried a lot of stuff.
It is a good bottle. So
I'm really enjoying this one. So
I may have to go home and open my bottle at home.
So if it's got the same mash bill or similar mash bill to Blanton's. If you were gonna this or Blanton's, what would you buy?
This.
I agree. Yeah, I'm 100% with you. But
I enjoy Blanton's, and I enjoy a good single barrel Blanton. They're all single barrel, but I enjoy a store pick. Toby was about to go off on me. I enjoy a unique store pick because they're all
they are
a little
off,
different.
yes, they're a little off flavor profile from your standard single barrels.
But yes, Toby, they're all single barrels. I get it.
Yeah. Well, I also think we have people in this market that know bourbon and they have good palates, and you can trust most of those places when you get a single barrel from them.
Yeah, the last pick I was telling you guys before this, I think I've only bought one bottle of a Buffalo Trace brand since COVID started, and that was a store pick, Blanton store pick from the Pearl, a silver dollar pick. And, it was a charity pick, so whatever. It was a good bottle, cracked it open the night
the Save the West bottle?
Feed the West.
Feed the West, yeah.
Yeah, so I opened it up the night I got home, and good bottle. I'd be interested to see if I go back to it tonight, 3-4 weeks later or a month later, whatever it is, and see if it's really opened up. And those bottles are different because they don't really have the neck to it like a standard.
No, you have to get, a good, half-inch deep into that bottle in order for it to really get that oxidation going. So,
yeah. Toby, so
good thing for you. You can go a half-inch deep.
That's right. That's about it.
All right. So, Toby, you like this one as opposed to the Penelope?
I do. I actually was going to steal it from Scott on the way out. So,
Toby's already been shopping here in my basement tonight. So.
Is that a bottle of Hancocks in your pants, Toby, or are you just happy to see Scott?
He's always happy to see me. Good gravy. So today we had 2 good bourbons. The Penelope was, a decent entry-level, 80 proof bourbon. You probably get some people that you're trying to get introduced to bourbon. It would probably be good for that. For your bourbon connoisseur, this is not the pick for you. But the Hancocks, this is a bourbon that anybody can enjoy, even, entry level, whatever, just because the proof level is so low, but the flavor complexity. I mean, this is just it's a great pour. If you see a Hancock single barrel out there, grab it, even at secondary value. I can't say that it's not worth 120 if OWA is worth 100.
OWA is not worth 100.
Well, I mean, I'm just saying if you like OWA and you pay 100 for that, I don't know why you wouldn't pay 100 to 120 for this.
See,
that's what I'm saying.
The thing about this Hancocks is the perfect example in which people always want to go with the higher proofs. They want the 110s, the 115s, and you can go with something with a lower proof and still have a great flavor.
You actually sometimes get more flavor out of a lower proof, just because the simple fact is you're opening up some more of those notes that are hidden by the alcohol taste.
Yeah.
But the thing is that people want unique now, right? Blended whiskey is not unique because of the fact that when you blend something or batch something, it should be a very consistent product. That's why Woodford Reserve will tell you they blend and batch their products, is because they want the same flavor every single time you open a bottle of Woodford. They want you to know, oh, that's Woodford Reserve, right? When you do a single barrel, sometimes you want it because it's unique, it's all flavor profile, it gives you something that you've never tried before, or it reminds you of something that would be very similar, so you really want those single barrels for that reason.
The problem with the single barrel, to me,
there's no problem with them.
There's one major problem, and you'll appreciate this, is when it's gone, and you're like, crap, I wish I had more. That's the only problem that I see with it.
Yeah, I just have FOMO, fear of missing out. Fear of more options. I need more.
Fear of more options. That's a great way to put FOMO in this situation. You do have a fear of having more options.
Yeah, I mean, because we were talking about some of these.
You were talking about the Old
barrels.
Forester Honey Orchard, and Scott doesn't want to sell you one, and I don't blame him because it's a good bottle. However, I'm yet to have a bad bottle of Old Forester single barrel, regardless of the proof, but the Honey Orchard's pretty unique.
Honey Orchard, Cherry Picker are probably the top 2 90 proof single barrels that I've ever had.
They're up there.
Pretty good. I can't think of any 2 that are better than those 2. I mean, maybe you can come up with another one that you would put in the top 2, but those are the 2 I would put at the top of the 90 proofs.
However, once I drink them, they're gone. I'll find something else I like.
Oh, absolutely, 100%. You can't go wrong there. So, well, that's our review for the day. Penelope Bourbon. Go ahead and buy it. Put it in the stockpile. Maybe you can gateway somebody that doesn't drink bourbon by using that to drink. The Hancocks it's great for anybody. Bourbon connoisseur to a beginner because it's low proof, but it's got fantastic flavors, notes, everything else from those caramel. I'm gonna say caramel for Josh. Vanilla, the tobacco, everything else that comes with that flavor. It's just a great flavor, great pour overall. So if you're looking for us, you can find us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, all that good stuff. You can also email us at bourbonbarreltalk@gmail.com. If you don't mind, go ahead and hit the subscribe button. Make sure you get every episode as they get released, and make sure you share them with other friends and family members. Let them know what your favorite bourbon podcast is, or if they just ask you, hey, what podcast do you listen to? Make sure you mention Bourbon Barrel Talk, because I think everybody can find something useful out of what we're talking about. Even if they don't like bourbon, they can find out some maybe history or heritage because of some of the interviews we do with local distilleries. So this is Scott, Josh, Toby signing off.
Thanks.